In 1987, Ryu threw a Hadouken for the first time. Then he threw another one, and then another one, and then another one after that. And nothing was ever the same. Today we're going to be talking about zoning, and believe me, this is going to be a fun ride. In the past, I've made videos where I talk about a handful of characters who fall under one archetype or general design philosophy. Grapplers, busted low health characters, charge characters, you get it. Usually there's a single character who kind of embodies this design in its purest, most untapped form, and later developers will go on to expand on it in future games. Thing is, there are so many zoning focused characters, and for this video I want to focus more on the act of zoning rather than the characters that are doing it. I'm sure it would be really fun to rant about JP in a video for a single 6-minute segment, but that can wait. I suppose the best way to introduce this topic is to actually talk about what zoning is, for those who aren't really familiar with the term. Zoning generally refers to the act of using long-ranged attacks to control as much screen space as possible. If you're zoning, then the idea is usually that you're trying to keep the opponent as far away as possible from you by locking them down from afar. Zoning tends to be associated with projectiles, but there are characters like Dalsim, Yuzuriha, and Axel Low who achieve their space control using long-ranged strikes. Some of these characters have both long-ranged buttons and projectiles, both of which are used for keep away. Zoning is technically something that any character can really do, but the zoner label is given to characters whose primary game plan focuses around their use of space control tools for keep away, to force mistakes, or for whatever nefarious things you would need to do this for. The thing about zoning is that it's an intensely hated playstyle by casual and beginner players. You want a fun game for yourself? Look up replays of high-level Guile in Street Fighter 5 or 6 and count how many comments are just shitting on whatever Guile player is featured, just for throwing projectiles on a character designed to have a strong projectile game. It's downright insane, and I find it doesn't happen with other zoners as much as it does with Guile, even though I personally think he's one of the best zoners ever designed. Even though Guile's playstyle is largely disliked by a lot more casual players and even a lot of top players, if we're being honest, the character that inspired this video in the first place wasn't him, it was Sagat. Sagat is another Street Fighter character who has historically been associated with fireball zoning. I've seen ST Old Sagat referred to as a stationary turret, and I mean yeah. He has two sets of fireballs, low and high tiger shots, which allows him to dramatically vary his zoning patterns. This doesn't apply to every Sagat incarnation, like CVS2 Sagat is bonkers, but it's not really for his fireball zoning in particular. But in Street Fighter 6, Sagat had the number of different fireballs in his kit basically cut in half, and on top of that, his meterless low tiger shot is a highly flawed projectile for zoning due to its extremely long recovery, among other things. Sagat in SF6 has effectively been retooled into a close-range brawler. He has amazing pressure and he's very good at threatening drive gauge damage, and while fireballs are still an important tool in his kits, they definitely are not the forefront of his identity. I recently saw people talking about SF5 Sagat on Twitter and comparing the two incarnations of the characters, and I was seeing people talk about how they preferred Zoner Sagat, and I personally prefer Zoner Sagat too. However, I was surprised by how many people had the opposite opinion, or at the minimum didn't find Zoner Sagat any more interesting than SF6 Sagat, which kinda got me thinking. How is Sagat jamming his elbow into someone's cranium 500 times and doing the same trade combo preferable to him throwing fireballs? Obviously this is a purely subjective matter, but I did a lot of thinking on why people hate playing and watching zoners, and I think it mainly just comes down to how slow and repetitive zoning can be, and the rather unorthodox ways you have to play around it. Zoning is by design meant to kill people who are impatient and try to rush in most of the time, so dealing with it is naturally hard for players who want to, rush in. First thought is that if someone is zoning you, you should just jump over the projectile, but most zoning characters have a solution to that in the form of a strong anti-air option, so jumping to close the gap can become more of a guessing game than a be-all end-all solution to projectiles of any kind. Generally, the best way to deal with zoning of any kind is sheer patience, walking and blocking, but most people who pick up an FG don't want to just sit there and eat zoning while waiting for a chance to slip through and get in. This is clearly something most devs have noticed since anti-projectile tools have been increasing in both quantity and quality. That's how you get shit like Super Dash. Don't want to deal with projectiles? Here's a law of physics defying tracking dash that blows through ki blasts and sends you flying into the opponent's face. Zoning can also make neutral harder. Remember, it's all about controlling the screen, limiting how you can move. In this regard, I always personally think of Yuzuriha from Under Night In-Birth, a character who zones using long-range slashes, and how easy it is to get clipped while trying to dash block towards her if you overextend on your movement. When it feels like you can't move from full screen without getting punished for it, that's a pretty awful experience. Neutral is often the hardest thing to learn about fighting games because there's so many different ways to approach it, and zoning naturally makes playing neutral much harder. Even losing to zoning is very slow. Projectiles do minimal damage, so if you're stuck getting hit by them, then the process of dying is just going to take a long time. This isn't always true. Lots of projectiles and limb zoners have ways to convert their zoning into damage and offense, but the fact of the matter is that fighting zoners and losing to zoning is a slow burn a lot of the time. I also think it's worth bringing up how many infamously top tier characters in fighting games have been zoners, or at the very least have had strong zoning. When this happens, not only do you have to deal with zoning, but there's usually a good chance that a top tier zoner is strong for reasons beyond their zoning. Two of my least favorite characters to fight ever are JP in Street Fighter 6 and the aforementioned Yuzuriha. JP zoning is annoying and strong, sure, but it's obviously not nearly as scary as the character's mix-ups. Same with Yuzu, her zoning is very good and super threatening since she can convert it into combos while in stance, but you also gotta worry about the fact that whenever she's in your face, you're dealing with strike throw where the throw leads to a combo from anywhere. Marvel 3 Morrigan can pop install for 1 meter to turn the game into bullet hell on a whim, but she also has an air dash and flight, and one of the best assists in the game, so you get your zoning, your rushdown and mix, and your support all in one neat package, weaknesses withheld. I'm definitely not going to deny that zoning fucking sucks to fight as a newer player, and there's lots of zoners out there where just thinking about fighting them gives me a headache. That said, there's a lot of zoners that I really enjoy fighting. Guile is the first one that comes to mind, and I also oddly liked fighting Peacock when I was learning Skullgirl's second encore a few years back. She's like the go-to example of a zoner who's annoying to the point of endangering blood pressure, and maybe it's just because I played Parasol, who has quite a good anti-projectile tool with Egret Dive, but I didn't mind this character nearly as much as I thought I would just based on her reputation, though maybe that would change today. I don't have a ton of experience playing zoners. The closest I think I've ever gotten to maining a zoner is Naoto in Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, but I do think it's a genuinely fun playstyle. FGs being fast and having strong offense can be a good time, but I've always found that fighting games are a lot more enjoyable when things are moving slowly, and doing any kind of zoning tends to not only slow down the pace of a match, but it also asks for a bit more intent in your decision making, most of the time. As many awful moments as I've had with Naoto having bullets get jumped over and getting punished, what's enjoyable is acknowledging that mistake and using it to inform the way that you play for the rest of a match or a set. This is obviously a factor when playing offense and defense too, but I personally feel this kind of thing is a lot more prominent in neutral than anything else. I also get a lot of joy out of forcing frustrated mistakes out of people who get impatient when they're being zoned out. It's why I'm glad I learned a bit of Guile in SF6 too. I already liked him as a concept, and actually playing him gave me a much better understanding of how much deliberation and patience goes into running the Sonic Boom Flash Kick game plan. It really signaled to me the importance of playing or at least learning about characters that you hate fighting. And not to say zoning is the only thing that defines SF6 Guile in particular, I'm still a Fireball Drive Rush hater for life, just making a point. Zoning is annoying, a lot of the time it's downright toxic, and I understand why people hate it, but personally I think I'll continue to be a zoning enjoyer. That's all me though, so let me know your thoughts. Do you like playing or fighting against zoners, or do you hate it? Let me know, and also let me know who your favorite zoner is. Thanks for watching, have a great night, and take care. Hey everyone, this is the point of the video where I thank all my channel members, so I'd like to give a huge shout out to all you wonderful people. Thank you to Old Man Han, Cammy the Killer, Jazba, Mortis, Arg Seals, Wormy, Bad Tangerine, Ernesto Flores, Gundog92, Marvelous, Raymond ZX200, Nick Toyo, Power Level Asian, Kira the Stowaway, Sonic Frontiers is a good game, Chandaran, Professor Bagel, Slurpee, Sirbot Frank, Isaac the Collector, and Gaming Spends. Thank you all for the support, it really does mean the world to me. I know that this video is a lot different from what I normally do, especially when it comes to like talking about fighting game archetypes. I just mainly wanted to try something new, and I did want to get something shorter out because those last two videos were on the longer side, and I'm going out of town next week, so this is just something to kind of tide people over. The next video I want to have out is an Ultimax video, so I hope you guys will enjoy that, but yeah, still working on big stuff. It's just I need a bit more time, especially since I did put a lot of effort this month into getting out that Shadow the Hedgehog video that I released on my other channel. So yeah, it's just focused on other stuff right now, but I'm working on it. So thank you for all the support. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching this video. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thank you for watching. I love you. Have a great night and take care.